We are reaching audiences continents. I am the host, Dr. Eram Sabah, and I am thrilled to guide you through this exciting session. For our Arabic speaking viewers, please join us via Alberca's Zoom platform using the ID and passcode displayed on our screen. This series is proudly hosted by the Alberca Forum for Islamic Economy, a non-profit global think tank that has paving the way for Islamic economics and finance and its horizons for nearly 50 years. Founded by the visionary late Sheikh Saleh Kamil, Al Barka Forum continues his legacy of groundbreaking contributions to Islamic economy and to impact the world. Let's welcome our distinguished panel of guest speakers. Mr. Salimullah, Deputy Governor of State Bank of Pakistan, Dr. Ishrat Hussain, former Governor of State Bank of Pakistan and Chairman, Center for Excellence in Islamic Finance at IBA Karachi. Mufti Dr. Irshad Ahmed Ijaz Sahab, Chairman of the Sharia Advisory Committee of State Bank of Pakistan and Chairman of the Sharia Advisory Committee of Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan. Mr. Muhammad Atif Hanif, Chief Executive Officer of Al Barka Pakistan Limited. Dr. Abdul Bari Khan, President, Indus Hospital and Health Network. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Without any delay, I would like to ask my first question from very respected and dear Professor Dr. Ishrat Hussain. Sir, can you elucidate about the beginning of Islamic economic activity in the Islamic Republic of Pakistan? Over to you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. I'm quite happy to join this forum and share some of the developments here in Pakistan, which may not be quite well known. It was actually our great visionary leader, Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, when he inaugurated the State Bank of Pakistan in 1948. And he was very open, which reflection today, it still sounds quite realistic assessment of the global situation. And he said that we have to present to the world an economic system based on true Islamic concepts of equality and social justice. Because the conventional banking system or the financial system does not provide that. So the Islamic banking or Islamic finance in Pakistan owes its departure as far as its thoughtfulness is concerned from Qaid-e-Azam's those golden words. Then in the 1970s and 80s, some developments took place. One was banking called profit and loss sharing, which the banks were supposed to move from interest-based loans to a profit and loss sharing. Then there was a zakat ordinance, which was also established in 1980, and that was a distributional mechanism whereby the poor segments of the Pakistani society could benefit from those who are quite well-to-do, and they have the assets. And then there were some Islamic economic advisory councils which were formed. But the matter of fact remained that this was considered a kind of whitewashing, not really a transformation of the banking system or the financial system into a robust, sustained Islamic banking system. And therefore, we started as a result of a directive from the Supreme Court of Pakistan, we developed this framework in the State Bank of Pakistan, whereby we granted licenses to full-fledged Islamic banks, the subsidiary of the conventional banks who were doing Islamic finance, and the windows of the Islamic banking. And that started in 2001, 2002, and Mizan Bank was given the first license. And since then, we had Islamic banking growth, which now takes about 20% of the entire banking. Then we had the State Bank coming up with specific financial regulations. We also formed the Sharia advisory board, which guide not only the state bank, but also individual banks. Then we went for sukuks, for insurance and takaful, and Islamic mutual funds. So this is the journey where we stand today in 2024. And the rate of growth of Islamic, both assets as well as the deposits, has been remarkably uh, higher than that of the conventional banking.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ishrat Hussain. I would like to ask second question from very respected Mufti Dr. Irshad Ahmed Ijaz Sahab. Mufti Sahab, how do you see the demand of Sharia compliant products in the country? Would you like to share your thoughts that customers are requesting for more Sharia compliant products, or it is a push from our side?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmadu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. I think if we look at the demand of the Islamic product or Islamic system, so we can see if we look at the history, the demand for such products even exist before the creation of Pakistan. And some historians like Dr. Hamidullah, he has written in an article that there was some experiment before the existence of Pakistan between 1930 and 40 by creation of Islamic Credit Society or Islamic Cooperative Societies. So the demand for such products has been there. I think even at the time of British colonial system, because we can see some fatwas written in that period, 1920, 1930, and people are asking some scholars about shares and about this interest-based system. So the demand was there. And after creation of Pakistan, as rightly said by respectable Dr. Ishra Saab, Qaid Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah Rahmatullah Alayhi has expressly said that I want to see the system which is based on Quran and Sunnah. And after a period, I think around 1973, the Constitution of 1973, because it was very clearly written in the Constitution that the state will try to develop a non-interest based economic system. So after I think around 20 years, 1993 or before that, uh, some groups, they approached the Federal Shariat Court and they asked them to suspend the conventional system and replace it with an Islamic one. So if we look at the historical battle that started 1993 and around 31 years, we have seen the three decisions by Federal Shariat Court and then Supreme Court Shariat Appellate Bench. So the demand is there. And in the era of, in the time of Zawlak Saab, there was an experiment. It was not a successful experiment, but it is based on the demand of the public. And later on in 2000 or in 1998, 1993, because the Al Barka Bank entered Pakistan in 1993, 31 years back. And then the Nizam Bank started with the collaboration. At that time, Nizam Bank was an investment bank. So if you look at all these experiments and historical evidences, it is very clear the demand of the products is there, obviously. Now, the system which is basically started after 2000, we can say 2002 or in 2005 and 6, when State Bank of Pakistan uh, properly launched the Islamic banking regulation and Islamic banking licensing program. So the demand is there in banking sector as well and non-banking sector as well. Now, if we are looking at the current conversion rate or the penetration, Islamic banking size, both in banking sector and capital market, and if you look at the demand for these products, so it is obvious the demand is there. And just lastly, I will mention the report that is prepared by the survey that is conducted by State Bank of Pakistan some years back. Very famous study, which the majority, I think around 90% of the population, they want to convert the system, but they want something, the feature then they want to see, and the conversion of the product. Obviously, there is a gap. We are seeing the gap, but still the demand is there. So the demand in every country, in every Islamic country, for the conversion of the economic system from conventional interest-based to the Islamic one is there.
Thank you so much, Mufti Sahab. We have Deputy Governor of State Bank of Pakistan, and I would like to ask you, sir, what is the value proposition of Islamic banking, and what role central bank can play to enhance that?
You see, the Islamic finance is primarily based on the principles of fairness, equity, and justice. What does that mean? That all the stakeholders that are associated with an Islamic finance system or an Islamic finance transaction or a product, they are having that fair, equitable, just, and transparent deal. And all these the stakeholders, they are reaping the benefits and value proposition of that very system and that very product. This is something which is based on a an element of trust, an element of partnership, an element of cooperation, whereby both the provider of capital as well as the person having the skills, they both have that spirit in their perspective and in their mind that with this transaction whereby the capital provider is providing that capital and the person is using, both these parties should be able to reap the benefits of these transactions. There should be a new wealth creation, and from that wealth creation, both the parties associated with that transaction should be able to share the benefits. And in case there are certain downsides, so they are the partners, they are the companions of both the upside and the downsides. So it is something which is based on a principle of trust and fairness and equity and justice. And that's how you you create that environment whereby you would see that I have seen my father saying when I was a very young child that if you want to grow, make sure that your customer is growing.
Right.
If your customer is not growing, then you are out. So the Islamic finance has that spread that it ensures the well-being of its clientele. And then the very large value proposition of Islamic finance, in my opinion, is that there is a very large segment of the society which is out of the banking system just because that it doesn't believe that the conventional system is in conformity with their faith. So with the introduction and provision of this Islamic banking platform, we enabled a very large segment which was otherwise out of the banking system to be part of the banking system and contribute not only in their own economic and business development, but also the development of the society, development of the country as well. So that is another a very major contribution, which we call, which is the financial inclusion. And the kind of, you see that, as I said, the kind of resilience it has, because when you are having that kind of understanding that we are the partners, we are the companions of good and bad times. So in the bad times, they will be sharing the pains as well. So that's in that way that creates that society, which to me is very critical for growth and development. The last thing I would like to emphasize would be that it creates that discipline. You see that in the conventional system, uh, you can you can buy without, for example, just to meet your lavish consumption needs, and then when you will come to the government, they can borrow from markets without being concerned that whether they are having the proper asset base to back those borrowings that they are raising from the market. So with the Islamic finance requires that one, that you should be raising funds for the genuine Sharia compliance needs, and two, particularly when the governments are raising funds, they should be properly backed by the assets. So there should be a discipline within which they are operating. So that's a huge discipline, in my opinion, and that can be a great value proposition for the Islamic finance.
Thank you so much, Deputy Governor, State Bank of Pakistan. Let me share with the audience who are watching us live. We are receiving your questions, and I'm glad some of your questions are just now answered by our Deputy Governor. So keep asking questions, and we will definitely ask this from the gentlemen who are sitting over here. Thank you, DG Saab. And now we are going to ask question from our CEO of Albarka Pakistan, Atif Saab. Atif Saab, how do you see the growth of Islamic economy in the country? Primarily, I'm referring to the profit-making entities in the country. How is the growth so far?
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Iram. In Pakistan, the growth of Islamic economy has mixed results. In some areas, Islamic economy has done quite well. For example, our banking industry, the asset base is now $34 billion, and the deposit side is $26 billion, which is 20% of the overall banking industry. Uh, so I would say that considering the potential of Pakistan, 20% is not a great number. So we have a lot to achieve. Pakistan has a lot more potential because if you compare it with Malaysia, Malaysia has 63% Muslim population, and the share of Islamic banking in Malaysia is 46% of the banking industry. In our case, our population is 97% Muslim, but we still are at 20%. But if you look at the growth trajectory of last few years, yes, we have achieved quite a bit, especially in the context of sukuks, government sukuks. Until 7 years ago, we had a dearth of government instruments in Islamic side. But now we have, alhamdulillah, $16 billion of sukuks, which the Islamic banks and Islamic financial institutions have invested in. Also, I would like to mention that the takaful industry is also catching up, although they are at only 10%, but they have a lot of room to grow, and they will catch up, as there's more focus on Islamic side in all areas. But one area which is especially remarkable is that in Pakistan Stock Exchange, 49% of the companies today are Sharia compliant. So that is a very good, significant number which the stock market has achieved. However, I would just like Dr. Isha Saab said and Mufti Irshad Saab has mentioned, Al Baraka Bank has been here since 1993. So our journey has been the longest in the Islamic banking journey. Before the Islamic banks got their independent licenses, we have been in Pakistani market 10 years ahead of them. So we have the longest journey of the Islamic banking in Pakistan, and we feel that the potential is huge, and we have just touched the tip of the iceberg, especially considering that about 85% of the adults in Pakistan still do not have bank accounts. And the surveys that Mufti Saab has referred to, one of the surveys categorically states that the major bottleneck in financial inclusion in Pakistan is the Sharia sensitivity. So people just don't want to deal with riba. And Islamic banking is the solution, but there are certain challenges which can be discussed later. But also a good number to mention here is that about 200,000 employees of the commercial banks in Pakistan, 50,000 are now related to the Islamic banking. So that is also a good number in terms of the resources, the talent that the Islamic banking industry has in Pakistan.
Thank you so much, Atif Saab. Last question from Dr. Bari. Dr. Bari, what are the primary sources of funds for your institution primarily, and how do you see the landscape for not-for-profit institutions in Pakistan?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, thank you. I'm honored to be present with distinguished personalities here. The sources of donation, there are donations, zakat, individual contributions, there are corporate contributions, then we have government funding, then we have international grants from, and it's not only within Pakistan, but the important thing is up to last 4 years ago, 92% of our donations or zakat were coming from Pakistan, and 8% were from expat Pakistani across the world. But we get from Muslim, non-Muslims, Then we also getting some amount in endowment also, and people are now coming up giving their properties to us. So particularly now, because of the brain drain, the children are living abroad. The older people are there. They just write a will that our house will be yours. So it increasingly. Then we had one building, office building in Port Qasim Authority, so which we generate about 25 lakh rupees a month rental on it. So this is the major. But we start just to briefly tell about the Indus Hospital. The Indus Hospital, the basis of Indus Hospital is faith, unwavering faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is from here. So people were skeptical that we will not be able to run a hospital free. 99.99% people told me you will be charging money in a month's time or 6 months, max a year. In 17 years, with a meager start of 150 beds, now we have 15 hospitals across Pakistan. So the 150-bedded hospital has become 300-bedded hospital. Now it's going to be the largest private sector free hospital in the world, basically, 1,350-bedded hospital. And we have 600-bedded hospital in Lahore. And on a monthly basis, we have primary health clinics, about 104 clinics. We have mobile clinics. We have abode clinics. So we impact on a monthly basis about 500,000 patients a month. And our first year budget was $1 million. Now, operational budget this year is about $200 million a year. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. That's very good to know, Dr. Bari. Dr. Ishit, we are receiving number of questions from our online viewers, and I would like to ask you a question. So we just received a question. Can Islamic banking become the magnet for the global investors? What are your views on?
Oh, that's a possibility which I have been advocating, that this is not really limited to those who follow Islamic faith. Because what are the characteristics of Islamic finance? If you go around the world, you have ethical funds, which are growing in numbers. Then you have impact funds, that they are creating some impact on the lives of the human beings. Then you have the environmental, social, and governance funds, which are also becoming very popular. So if you compare the characteristics of these funds, which are now in the domain of what I call as the conventional banking, they are fit to be absorbed as a part of the Islamic banking. And the 2008-2009 global financial crisis actually convinced me that the volatility which was created because of the financial engineering, which is cubic power of the CBS, is not just going to create a stability in the financial system. So even for the stability of the international financial system, Islamic system provides a very strong anchor. So I've been telling my colleagues in the Western world, I last addressed the central bank governors of Europe in Luxembourg, and I try to place before them the facts about what Islamic banking can do and how it can replace. But first, we have to prove it ourselves. And if you are just doing what I call as whistle and bells around the conventional banking, and you're not doing innovations, you're not coming in with product development, you're not combining the zakat, sadqa, waqf, and other social aspects of Islamic finance with the conventional Islamic banking, then you're not reaching out to the poor, you're not reaching out to the SMEs, you're not reaching out to the agriculture sector, you're not reaching out to the backward areas of Pakistan. So it is our responsibility, not only in the financial inclusion, but what its impact is on the poor of this country. Can it be used for alleviating poverty, for reducing income inequalities, for developing the backward areas? So the onus is on us, but I'm quite convinced that we can do it if we are committed and sincere about the application of the principles of Islamic finance.
Thank you so much. A second question that we received from our online viewer is basically about Mufti Sahab, halal industry. Why Pakistan is not focusing on the halal industry? And halal industry can give a lot of incentives to Pakistanis to do their exports. So please.
I think this is a very good question. And as rightly said by Dr. Saab, we have potential in Pakistan. Look at the population and the variety of the sectors, industry. I think halal industry in Pakistan, if you look at the pharmaceutical products and food products, and similarly tourism. Um, in my view, this is basically the gap of the will or the planning or the governance issues. I think so because the if the potential is there, the capacity is there. Look at the people from Pakistan who are serving internationally, multiple boards in if you want to see technical people, technical skill sets. Pakistani people have very good technical skill sets. So I think all these things can be done easily if the planning is there. And I think the overall the system or non-volatility of the political system, political unrest. If we tackle these issues, I think we can transform our focus on this development of halal industry, halal potential halal industry. And if you look at the media, see five in at least four sector, we can see transformation in economic system, in education, in media, and in halal industry. In all segments, we have a skill set, we have potential, and we can produce lot of things. So there is no practically from theoretical perspective, from academic perspective, there is no problem, I think. But the issue, I think the governance and poor legal system or non-conducive environment, so that those who are interested in investing in Pakistan, obviously they need some protection and some sort of help on one window operation. So if we shift our focus from other matters to these type of matter, I think it is a matter of 5 or 10 years, Pakistan can prosper in these areas.
Thank you so much, Mufti Sahab. Uh, Salimullah, sir, we have a question for you. Actually, we have number of questions from the for the regulatory authority over here. But I'm going to ask one question that is being asked by number of viewers. So that is, what efforts are done by State Bank of Pakistan for the conversion, and what incentive central bank is giving to the conventional banking institution to convert to Islamic? And all the questions are related to these two main questions. So, what are your
Okay.
thoughts?
You see that there is a decision by the Shariat courts whereby the there was a direction with respect to transformation of the industry by 2027. So based on that, we developed a plan and we are working with the industry. The individual banks are developing their individual plans based on their own sort of capacity and infrastructure. And what we have done, we have provided the broad guidelines that if you want to transform and if you want to develop a transformation plan, what sort of general broad guidelines and parameters you should follow. That we have collected based on the best practices that were available both within the country. We have one very good example of conversion of one conventional bank into a full-fledged Islamic bank. That one example is available, and then there are examples across the globe. Based on those examples, we have developed those broad parameters, and these are meant to facilitate the banks so that they should be able to develop their own plans and their own strategies. Yeah. And as far as the central bank is concerned, there were certain requirements with respect to the changes in the regulatory framework. The changes are being they have been identified and they are being drafted. There is a very large capacity building and awareness campaign that has been developed. So things are proceeding in that direction.
Excellent. Adif sir, next question from you. So, what are the innovative products that your bank have developed for the underprivileged people in Pakistan?
Well, there are a number. We have focused a lot on education. So we have annuity-based saving schemes for education, and where people can invest through their monthly payments and have a long-term plan of 10 to 15, 20 years. And under Sharia compliant modes of savings, they can plan the education of their children in long term. We similarly have Qarz-e-Hasna, Qarz-based products for Hajj and Umrah and other needs like the marriage of their children. We have a number of products for the underprivileged. But apart from this, we are, as an Islamic bank, contributing a lot in terms of charity. The charity that all Islamic institutions have, which comes from a number of reasons, but mainly due to portfolios of advances. There's certain late payment related sources of funds. Those charity funds are also funding the scholarship on a very large scale for the university students, for the college students, school students, and the healthcare non-profit institutions. Apart from that, we have a number of other areas where we are focusing. They may not necessarily be the commercial products, but for example, we are doing a lot of funding to the study tours of the universities, where kids who cannot afford high quality travel within the country, they are given exposure to visit universities of other cities and live with them, and then come back with with their research paper, and then have road shows in their universities and share their experiences and the way of living of the other areas of Pakistan. Uh, we are also focusing a lot on promoting those sectors of economy which are underrated. For example, in agriculture, olive sector is the upcoming sector in Pakistan, which has the potential to export about $3 billion of olive oil from Pakistan, and it is just emerging. So we are doing a lot in promoting that sector through financing. We'll be probably the first bank to finance the oil extraction machines very soon. And we have a complete product range, product for that sort of financing. But we are also helping the olive sector in terms of awareness of this sector, from the agriculture to the oil extraction. But I must mention, just like Dr. Shah Saab said, we are also focusing on the halal industry. As you know, that Al Barka Forum has pioneered the halal sector by holding the first halal forum in Makkah earlier this year, where the global stakeholders of the halal industry were there and sharing their ideas and challenges and opportunities. We have pitched Pakistan in that forum as one of the few countries which can give a whole spectrum of halal sectors. For example, halal sector is primarily the meat, which is $2 trillion of industry today, but it's also halal pharmaceutical and cosmetics, which is about $250 billion. The halal tourism, which is also $250 billion, and the halal fashion. So what we have in Pakistan is everything. Everything that is halal, Pakistan has a potential. The tourism, the halal fashion, because we are already one of the largest exporters of textile in the world. So we can just simply, transform into that. So we are planning on holding a halal forum in Pakistan in earlier next year to give all the potential stakeholders good insight and connectivity to the world in the halal sectors.
Thank you so much, Atif Saab. Dr. Bari, a question for you. Dr. Ishut mentioned about Islamic social finance. So, how do you see the connection between the Islamic financial institution and Islamic social institutions, those who are working for the benefit of the poor in the country?
There is a synergy between the two institutions. Basically, we are working for that. And we have seen the Islamic, basically the Islamic banking system they have some Gharar fund which can be, and they have a huge fund in that area which can be used for those organizations which were really working according to the Islamic Sharia. So we were the one who created SOP that it should be how the zakat would be utilized. So we had a benefit that we are free hospital. So no one used to tell lie to us. So they knew that they will get the treatment. So we know who are zakat eligible, who are not zakat eligible. So we have different funding for that. So there is a great crowd. And the Islamic funders basically they should look into the organizations who have strong SOPs for using Islamic fund, because this is a responsibility. And they must, I would say, they must look into, don't give small pieces to multiple organizations. Look for a credible organization and then work. So it will be great benefit to them, inshallah.
Thank you. Mufti Sahab, next question from you. How do you see the role of Islamic financial institution in taking care of the non-Muslim and as well as Muslim, but primarily non-Muslim people sitting in the country? So are we taking care of their needs as well, being Islamic financial institution?
See, as Dr. Isha Saab has rightly mentioned, that there are ethical funds and some social funds that are now getting popular in non-Muslim countries as well. So primarily, Islamic finance does not mean something which is specific for Muslim. No, in any country or in any country of any Islamic country, you can see that these products are available for Muslim and non-Muslim both. So there is a very clear, I think, message to all who are a citizen of any country that they can use Islamic product. For example, if you go through the data, there are many customers of Islamic products, whether it is a housing finance or a car finance or any other consumer or other products, non-Muslim they are using. So these products and these services are available for them also. And the concept of social or a concept of ethical finance is also one of the key factor that attract some people who are not believers, but they say that at least they are not financing these segments, tobacco, alcohol, war, and this and that. So in that sense, this financing system or these financing products are clear products. So in any country, if you go to the Far East, Middle East, and Africa, and any country, you can find Islamic finance user of the Islamic finance product are Muslim and non-Muslim both.
Right. Mufti Sahab, there is a question for you. So I'm going to ask this question that when you are devising the Sharia rules, you consider cultural relevance as well? This is asked by one of the online viewer. So
So I think this is not a very clear question. What do you mean
it's
by the cultural evidence?
so,
But
for example, when you have the interpretation of the Quranic verses and you have the different other ahadith as well, and you are devising a rule, so you consider while taking care of the rule in line with Sharia and also cultural relevance.
see, if you look at the basic philosophy of Islamic IOF, Accounting and Auditing Organization of Islamic Financial Institution, this philosophy says that the interpretation of any Islamic rule about any product and about any system should be based on Quran and Sunnah, and it should be designed in a way that is acceptable in any country, in any any society. So as far as the cultural aspects are concerned, generally social matters are more inclined to cultural appeal. But as far as these products are concerned, for example, one of the cultural aspects, sometimes people ask, do you have any product for women also? Do you have any product for non-Muslim? These are some cultural questions. So yes, we have. In Pakistan, we have seen many Islamic countries, many Islamic banks, they have introduced female related products, some pink products and like that. So these things are there. But as far as the Sharia ruling are concerned, I think it should be acceptable globally, should not be specific to any country, because in other cases we will see the problem of acceptability of the product of one country to another country. So keeping in view this international global acceptability, we generally try to abide by the Sharia standards by AOF, so that the product is acceptable worldwide. But so far as the cultural aspect of any country, so obviously the country of that particular the banking system or non-banking system of that particular country, they can amend their products according to their social needs.
Thank you so much. Dr. Sir, because you are economist as well, so there is a question for you. How do you see the reserve banking when you talk about Islamic finance? And also, how about the implementation of Basel standards when you have full-fledged Islamic financial system in the country?
Well, that's a work under progress because we haven't reached that stage, which is the internationalization of the finance at that point. Right now, we are all concerned with a successful transition from the conventional banking to the Islamic banking within the territorial jurisdiction of Pakistan. And it's been done in Malaysia, it has been done in Bahrain, it has been done. But if you look at many other countries, they are still not completely following the Islamic principles as far as the banking sector. So first we have to put our house in order before we talk about Basel or about reserve banking. Why do we want to entangle our life and make it more complicated? Make it simple. Do it yourself within the country because there are, as Salimullah pointed out, there are huge problems in the conversion from the present system to a desirable Islamic system. So let's take care of that, prove that we can do it, and then we worry about this other peripheral question, which will come definitely, but everything has its own timing, phasing, and sequencing. I don't want to jump the gun at this point and take on the reserve banking and take on the international finance at this point of time. But we have to put our house in order. And just to supplement what Mufti Sahab was saying, you see, Islam is a global system. It has principles and precepts which are followed, by even the best countries in the world. I mean, a study was taken by George Washington University, as to which country is following the preachings, the precepts, and the practices of Islam. And you know which came number one? Japan, because they don't have theft, they don't have swearing on oath and making all kind of cheating. They are honest people, they are people of integrity, which is what Islam is all about. The moment you bring in integrity and the trust, as Salimullah pointed out, you will have a very different system. Well, we all pray 5 times and we go for Umrah, but we adulterate our food, we have spurious drugs, we don't deliver on time. That's not what Islam is saying. So let's put our own house in order first. And I personally think that this is for non-Muslims, for everyone. This system is really an ideal system compared to what we have in the world.
It's very important to share with the audience that Professor Dr. Ishrat Hussain is considered founder of Islamic banking in Pakistan. He was the governor of the State Bank of Pakistan when he gave the first license, and his presence today is basically the evidence of his commitment for the growth of Islamic banking and finance. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to ask next question from our very respected Deputy Governor, Sir Salimullah. Salimullah sir, we have this question that how Islamic banking play its due role in sustainable economic growth of Pakistan. What role technology in Islamic banking can play as a key enabler? If you would like to share your thoughts on it.
You see that Dr. Ishad very rightly pointed out that there are a number of commonalities between Islamic finance and ethical finance and sustainable finance and ESG related finance. So to me, there is a huge opportunity for the Islamic banks and Islamic banking institutions to tap this opportunity. There is a huge focus on sustainable finance. I would first discuss the sustainable finance.
Right.
So it's a huge focus on sustainable finance. And their basic philosophy is very compatible with the sustainable finance because, as I said in my earlier intro, that they are concerned with the well-being of their clients. When they're concerned with the well-being of their clients, how can they not be concerned with the well-being of the society and the environment as a whole? So their basic philosophy largely largely comparable and compatible with the sustainable finance. So by promoting this investment in this green financing and the sustainable finance, they can achieve the very objective that they wanted to achieve with respect to their own philosophy. With respect to the technology to me is providing a huge opportunity to Islamic finance. Why? Because one area where the Islamic finance was struggling, that how to have the quality information about the businesses they want to finance. With the availability of technology, now it is much easier to have the access to the cash flow information of the businesses, so that they should be able to more comfortably develop and offer the various products and services to their clientele. Similarly, technology is enabling the not only the Islamic banks but the overall banking industry to reach out to a very large segment of the society. You see that in Pakistan, we have about 217 million bank accounts. And when I say bank accounts, it is both the accounts available in the commercial banks as well as the accounts of the branchless banking and the mobile banking accounts. Out of these 217 million, more than 117, 118 million accounts are mobile banking accounts. And these mobile banking accounts are providing a huge sort of a platform to provide not only the payment services, once the payment services are there, and then the cash flow history of not only the individuals, but also the enterprises is being developed. Lastly, with respect to the technology, we have that a very major intervention made in the form of Rust. That Rust is enabling us to have uh, a very large segment of the enterprises, very small enterprises. The last utility of Rust that we enacted in September 2023, it was the person to merchant payments. That person to merchant payment is something that when I'm going to a Karyana store and to buy a certain grocery, so I should be able to make payments through RAS. The merchant will be having that QR code and sharing that QR code with me, and I will be able to make that payment. This is enabling that merchant to have that cash flow history, and that cash flow history is giving a large amount of ammunition, I would say, to the banks, that now these customers are bankable. So that to me, technology is a huge opportunity, but at the same time, it's a challenge as well, because we must have very sound system with respect to the cybersecurity. We must have very sound controls with respect to the protection of data as well. So it's a huge opportunity, but at the same time, there's a challenge as well that needs to be catered to.
Thank you so much, sir. Atif Sahab, I received so many questions for you, but I'm going to ask the top two questions that, and the first one is, what are the challenges faced by Islamic banking industry in Pakistan?
Uh, there are challenges, but there are also opportunities. Like Salimullah Sahab said, that majority of the accounts in the Pakistan banking system, in the system, are with the mobiles and the fintechs. And these are mostly transactional accounts and also Rust accounts. The deposits that people like to keep, that trend remains to be with the commercial banks. And hence, there's a huge unbanked population in Pakistan, which is a challenge and also an opportunity. The unbanked market in Pakistan is bigger than many countries. So for Islamic banks, it's one of the best countries to be in to do banking. Uh, we obviously have the challenges. Is one of the big challenges is the perception of the Islamic banking. Like Dr. Ishra Sab said, we had on two different occasions launching of Islamic banking in Pakistan. In 1984, it was simply done by changing the nomenclature, which was then challenged by the Supreme Court, and the new system was launched. Hence, in our what we call conventional banking system, we do not have the interest word Instead, we have at that time, the nomenclature which was given to this in the form of markup and buyback agreements. So today we have the new Islamic banking system and an old Islamic banking system. And that is a big challenge because people at large get confused. So that perception is being addressed through in a number of ways. We are doing it in the form of road shows in vicinities where our branches exist. And we also invite khatib and ulama of the mosques, where they are told that they are informed about the Sharia compliant banking and services. Uh, the big challenge right now, like Deputy Governor Salimullah Saab said, is the conversion by and large for the industry. Although we are a purely Islamic bank, but conversion requires, addressing many challenges. For example, 150,000 employees of conventional banks, they need to be trained, and their mindset also needs to, align with the Islamic banking. At the same time, the huge customer base of the conventional bank also need to accept Islamic banking as the true Sharia compliant way of doing business. But again, like Salimullah Saab said, digitalization, it is a big challenge because our systems and processes will get very efficient, very smooth, as our processes will move from manual to digitalization. And especially, I will like to mention two areas apart from this. One is the agriculture side and SME side, where our product development, our focus, our services need to be aligned because that's where the most of the unbanked market is. And the most important is that the true spirit of Islamic banking, which is the profit and loss sharing, which comes under the ambit of Musharka product, that product is not being practiced by Islamic banks at large. Mostly the trade related products are being offered and diminishing musharka. But the true profit and loss sharing products are yet to be offered on large scale to the customers, both SMEs, corporates, and even individuals. So that is a big challenge which we, as an industry, need to achieve.
Atif sir, very quickly, how your bank is supporting entrepreneurs, especially youth and women entrepreneurs?
Well, we have a number of products. For example, uh, on the deposit side, we have a Banat product for women, which has a lot of incentives actually. I was speaking to somebody who was in a senior position in Azerbaijan, and they asked me a question the other day that can women open account in Islamic banking? I said it's the other way around. Women get women get privilege. In our Banat account, there almost everything is free, including lockers are free. So women are given a lot of incentive to open accounts. Likewise, when it comes to financing, we have privilege and incentives for women, which are offered in many areas. But like I said, the potential is huge. As an industry, we need to focus on agriculture and cottage industry and SME, where women can benefit a lot and small entrepreneurs can also benefit.
Thank you so much. If I would like to request our esteemed panelists to give one message, either to the banking industry or the people of Pakistan and the people who are watching us live right now. So, what your message will be? I would like to request Dr. Ishrat Hussain.
I think my message is that this task of conversion from the present system to the Islamic system as a complete new horizon should not be taken very lightly. And it is the combined responsibility of the people of Pakistan, the regulators, the government, and the banks themselves to walk the talk. That means that they should be committed to solve the problems. And in my mind, there are 5 major problems in this whole process of conversion. Number one, you have a lack of harmonization as far as the standards of rules, legal systems, and procedures are concerned. And every time you have to refer it to the Sharia board, which adds to the cost and the timing of the transaction as compared to the conventional. So this is something which we have to worry about. The second, as Atif pointed out, we are still stuck on a subset of the product line. Mudarba and Musharaka are actually the pillars of a very sound Islamic system. But we haven't seen very much of that taking place because of the lack of trust between the financier and the recipient of the financing. When you have two books to be capped, one for the banks and taxation and one for yourself, then that is not in the spirit of the real Islamic banking. Number two, we have a problem of talent and scarcity of Sharia scholars. We need to invest in training, education, research, development of these experts. But more important than that, we must have a mindset conversion. The conventional banker is very happy if a 9-to-5 job, and if some other bank offers him 10,000 rupees, he doesn't care. He leaves the bank and goes there. For Islamic banking, you should have a passion, a commitment that this is not a 9-to-5 job. I'm doing it, but I'm bringing about a complete transformation as far as my own role is concerned. And that mindset conversion is very important. The third one, I think, is that it has to go and evaluate everything from its impact, not the inputs, not the outputs, but the impact. Are the small, medium farmers benefiting from it? Are the SMEs benefiting it? Are the youth benefiting from it? Are the women who are disenfranchised right now? Are Balochistan and KP benefiting from it? There must be an impact factor analysis before you actually indulge in this. Otherwise, it is just converting one set of accounts to another, which are Sharia compliant. And finally, I think the other element, other than the asset backed, is the risk sharing. Venture capitals, startups, these are some things which the Islamic banking should really be promoting because that is in line with the characteristics of Islamic finance. So these are the challenges, and I wanted to alert everyone that this is not the state bank which is going to do it, or Atif and his Al-Barka is going to be. It has to be collective effort of all the scholars, of all those who are in policy making, legislators, media, and everybody working together. If we don't do together, then we are in trouble.
Collaboration, this is the key word. Thank you so much, Dr. Ishrat. Mufti Shad Ahmed Ijaz sahab.
I think one fact now it is almost established, keeping in view the past 40 years of Islamic banking, that an alternate model to conventional model is possible now. It is workable. But now this thing, as rightly mentioned by respectable Dr. Saab, this thing should be kept in mind for those who are now working and those the generation that are coming, that the task is not achieved yet. At least on country level or international level, still we don't have any international forum for the conversion of economy or looking at the big issues like mentioned by Dr. Saab. So at least this is the responsibility of us by introducing some projects and converting 20 or 25% of the economy and only some banking product. The task may not be achieved. We need a bigger approach, broader approach. And if we focus on these type of issues, which are working as a hurdle for conversion whole economy, and one of the big hurdle is shaky mind, shaky mentality. Still, if you are not confident what you are doing, you cannot achieve things. So we should be confident that what we are doing is correct. And if there are some problems, some weaknesses, some issues, we should be ready for tackling these issues, for solving these problems, rather than keeping in our seats and having a cup of coffee and say that what we are doing, but we are still not comfortable with this. So I think it should be that much energetic that if there are some issues, the problem, weaknesses, we will stand and we will solve this. So at least this message should be conveyed to the generation that will come.
Thank you so much. Dr. Bari.
I have two messages, one for the Islamic banking and one for which to whom I'm representing, that is NPOs. The people need education about the Islamic banking, because I've seen many people talking about it's just like holding your ear. It's just the same. Both are the same. And the majority of the people says this. So they need to be educated, and as you said, that the firmness, you believe in it, it is like this. And unless you don't have a belief, you will not convince people. For NPOs, they have to, if they want to utilize collection, they have to be compliant. Sharia compliant, they have to have a system, their accountability, transparency. It's the credibility of the organization. I've been doing since my medical school day school. So why they give to Bari? Because he has proven it, he has shown it as an institution, that as a student now a great institution has come up now. So these are the two areas where this is my message for both the industry.
They give to Dr. Bari because they trust you. So this is the thing.
Yeah,
We trust you.
Yeah.
So our very respected Deputy Governor.
Although I think Dr. Ishrad and Mufti Sahab and Dr. Bari has covered most of the things, but let me say this, that the objective of Islamic finance and Islamic economic system is a system that is based on justice. So, as Dr. Sahab said, I fully endorse what he said, that it should not be the transformation just for the purpose of transformation and the name of transformation. People should really feel that they are really getting just and fair deals when in their transactions. And there are two messages that I would say. That one message, I was having a meeting with Maulana Bashir Farooqi Sahab last week, and I requested him that let me take care of the Islamic banks and financial institutions, so that they should be able to provide the customer focused and customer centric Islamic products to the business community. But my requests to the Sharia scholars, and including Bashir Farooqi Sahab, was that let's develop that character in our businesses as well. That let's not maintain that if I'm having 2 or 3 types of books, then how can a bank could rely on? So that it, as Dr. Saab said, that it cannot come from one institution or another institution. We need sort of a societal change. That are, it's not the case that my business, which is the weakest project I'm offering, that you take this for the purpose of Musharaka and Mudaka, that will not work. So on the Islamic finance side, yes, we will continue to provide a system that is just, equitable, and fair. But at the same time, the business community would also have to have that disclosures, that transparency, whereby the capital providers would have trust in that information, and they should be able to, they should be feeling more comfortable in providing financing to them. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Atif Saab.
I will just say that everyone has just said the essence of Islamic banking. I would say we are the generation of bankers, regulators, scholars, customers who are laying the foundation of Islamic banking on this planet. The generation before us did not have that option. It was all conventional. The generation after us may not even have that option, because by then regulators would forcefully convert everything to Islamic. So our generation has the choice. So if we have to obey the principles of Sharia every day, we have an option to choose in that direction, whether we are customers, whether we are bankers, whether we, if we, whatever way we are choosing, this is the generation which has the option to choose. After us, there will be no option. Everything will be Islamic in Pakistan. So the sooner we do, and the more credibly we do, and we do with a lot of creativity, substance, and the pace which is required, because we are actually replacing a system which is centuries old, and it is meeting the requirements of the businesses, the consumers, the government, the trade, everything, agriculture. So we need to catch up fast as a Islamic industry and ensure that this conversion and this option for the whole economy to become Islamic is more efficient, more productive, and more transparent, like Dr. Saf said.
Thank you so much to all the wonderful speakers, panelists today, represented by Dr. Bari, social sector. You are the leader of social sector, chairman Sharia Advisory Committee of State Bank of Pakistan, as well as SECP, former governor, State Bank of Pakistan, founder of Islamic banking in Pakistan, Professor Dr. Ishrat Hussain, deputy governor, State Bank of Pakistan, Salimullah Saab, CEO of Al Barka Pakistan, Atif Saab. Thank you so much, and especially the team of Al Barka Forum. We highly appreciate the participation of the viewers from all over the world. And the message for Islamic banking is we have to achieve Maqasid al-Sharia. We have to create ease for the people in the whole world. Thank you so much for joining us today. Keep watching Al Barka Forum. Thank you.